الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبع نهجهم إلى يوم الدين. Inshallah, the point of our discussion would be in Mustalah al-Hadith, that is the Hadith terminology. So the book that we are going towards, or the book that we are going to study based on this subject is Mustalah al-Hadith, which is authored by Muhammad bin Salih al-Uthaymeen rahimahullah. So and the edition would be one of the oldest edition, that is the Tab'atul Ula, which I think it was published since 1994. So we are going towards the first edition of the book, that is the publication of 1994. So as we know, in every aspect, in ulum al-Quran, in the ulum al-Hadith, in the issues of Tawheed, there are some of the terminologies that differs with the other periods' terminologies. So likewise also, there are some of the terminologies that are being utilized in the field of Hadith. If you take a terminology from other aspects or from fiqh and you apply it to the issue which concern the Hadith, then you may end up getting a wrong interpretation, or you may miss the point, you misunderstood the entire concept. Like for example, if you take the word sunnah, the meaning of sunnah differs in the field of Hadith and in the field of fiqh. Like also al-manhiyu, al-mandub, like khilaf al-awla. All these are some of the terminologies you get in the field of jurisprudence, which is totally a kind of different issue in the field of Hadith. So there are some of the terminologies that are being used in this field or in this subject. And these are the purpose which many of the ulama and many of the students of knowledge, they are in need of this kind of terminology for them to understand what the information or what the subject has been about. So for you to know the hadith, you must know the terminologies. So he started with the khutbah. Khutbah, that is the famous, for example. Normally, as for Sheikh Muhammad bin Salih al-Uthaymeen, he adheres to khutbah al-hajj. At times he would mention the khutbah in a kind of summarized form, and at times he would mention the khutbah to the end portion of the khutbah. So similarly here also in the book, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, he started Alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa natubu ilayh. All the phrases are to the Almighty. We thank Him, we praise Him, and we seek His help and likewise His forgiveness. Wa natubu ilayh, and we repent back to Him. Wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina. We seek the refuge of the Almighty from the evil of ourselves, meaning from that is the shortcomings of our souls, وَمِنْ سَيِّئَاتِ أَعْمَالِنَا. Likewise, we seek His refuge from the evil of our actions, meaning our shortcomings, our wrong actions. مَنْ يَهْدِهِ اللَّهُ فَلَا مُضِلَّ لَهُ. So ever God guides, no one is there to misguide him. Whosoever the Almighty misguide, nobody is there to guide that particular person. وَمَنْ يُضْلِلْ فَلَا هَادِيَ لَهُ. And whosoever the Almighty مَنْ يَهْدِهِ اللَّهُ فَلَا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. That is vice versa. Whosoever the Almighty must guide, nobody is there to guide him. And whosoever He guide, nobody is there to misguide that particular person. So may yahdihillah, whosoever the Almighty guide, فلا مضل له. You will not find anyone to misguide that particular person. So, whomsoever the Almighty misguide also, nobody would be able to guide that particular person. So that the guidance is the guidance of the Almighty. Even if you claim that you are rightly guided, or you are righteously guided, you will not be considered as that if the Almighty did not guide you. So he mentioned, وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا رَسُولٌ, and I testified that Prophet Muhammad is a messenger of Allah. Abduhu wa Rasul, and Muhammad Abduhu wa Rasul, he is a servant of the Almighty and His messenger. So he is nothing but the servant and the messenger. As we know, it came in authentic hadith. The Almighty mentioned that لَا تَطْرُونِ كَمَا أَطَعَتِ النَّصَارَى ابْنُ مَرْيَمَ. Do not over-exaggerate on my position as how the Nasara over-exaggerated regarding the position of Isa, regarding the position of the son of Mary. The Rasulullah said, فَقُولُ أُمِّ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولُهُ. For me, about me, you shall say, I'm just a servant of the Almighty and His messenger. So that's how it is, period. This is the position of the Rasulullah. He is indeed a servant of the Almighty. He is not God, but rather a servant of God. And likewise also, he is a messenger of God. Sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsan ila yawm al-din. The peace and mercy of Allah be upon him, and his households, and his companions, and those that followed them bi ihsan, with righteous, meaning with righteousness. So whosoever follow the path of his households, the path of the Sahaba, paths of the companions of the Rasulullah, he shall be included in that dua. So may peace and mercy of the Almighty be upon the Messenger and his households, likewise his family, meaning his companions, his household, meaning his family members, and also washabi and his companions. That is the entire companions without exclusion. Likewise, whosoever follow them with the righteous, even to this day. So that's the information entitled by this statement. وَمَنْ تَبِعَهُمْ بِإِحْسَانٍ إِلَى يَوْمِ الدِّينِ. And whoever follow them with goodness, righteousness, إِلَى يَوْمِ الدِّينِ, to the day of recompense. يَوْمِ الدِّينِ, as we know, it is the day of resurrection. So it is a day where the Almighty will give the reward of actions to those of His servants that perform righteous actions, and He will give the penalty of the evil actions perpetrated or performed by the wrongdoers. So that's one of the issues. وَسَلَّمَ تَسْلِيمًا, and glory and mercy be upon him. وَسَلَّمَ تَسْلِيمًا, mercy and a great mercy be upon him. So there is one issue, وَسَلَّمَ تَسْلِيمًا, and he should grant mercy to the Rasulullah. So the salawat that are included in the merit of the Sahaba, and likewise to his household. That's why even in Mustadrak of Imam al-Hakim al-Nisaburi, in some of his narrations, he would say sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam instead of sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is how it is. Even in Salat al-Ibrahimiyya, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. So even if the name of the Ahl is not mentioned, only of the Sahaba is not mentioned in such kind of statements, it is included, even though it is not mentioned. So it is a kind of definite. Even if it is not definite, this would be a kind of indefinite statement. So, أما بعد after this, فإن الله بعث محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم بالهدى. The Almighty has sent, the Almighty had sent Prophet Muhammad with guidance. ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله. The religion of truth in order to uplift it over entire religions. ليظهره على الدين كله. In order to manifest it upon all other religions. يظهره على الدين كله. وأنزل عليه الكتاب والحكمة. And he revealed to him الكتاب, the book, والحكمة, and wisdom. That is the Sunnah, the Hadith. So al-Hikmah is the Hadith. That's how it is mentioned in Surah Al-Jum'ah. That هو الذي in Surah Al-Jum'ah هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين. So he revealed to him the book, a scripture, and also interpretation of that. So that is the hikmah. So he mentioned الكتاب القرآن والحكمة السنة. The meaning of the book meaning the Quran, and the hikmah is the sunnah, that is the hadith. يبين للناس ما نزل إليهم ولعلهم يتفكرون فيهتدون ويفلحون. In order to explain to the people that which has been revealed to them, so as for them to think, to reason about it, for them to get to be guided, so as for them to attain salvation. So this is the purpose. Yes, indeed, the book was revealed to him, but the purpose is for the humanity. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تعملون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله وكذلك أنزلنا إليك الكتاب الذين آتيناهم الكتاب ذات آية سورة العنكبوت وكذلك أنزلنا إليك الكتاب والذين آتيناهم الكتاب يؤمنون به ومن هؤلاء من يؤمن به وما يجحد بآياتنا إلا الكافرون وما كنت تتلو من قبله من كتاب ولا تخطه بيمينك إذا لارتاب المبطلون بل هو آيات بينات في صدور الذين أوتوا العلم وما يجحد بآياتنا إلا الظالمون. So the first ayah وما يجحد بآياتنا إلا الظالمون, and the second one وما يجحد بآياتنا إلا الكافرون. So the purpose is that وكذلك أنزلنا إليك الكتاب. That's how we reveal the book unto you. So the purpose is that the book was revealed, but it is for the guidance of humanity, for the benefit of the people. So this is the work of the messengers, and they have delivered their missions. The missions is for them to deliver the divine message to the people, and that's how it happened. All the messengers, they have done that, and likewise even to the final of the messengers, he has also accomplished his mission. So he mentioned يبين للناس ما نزل إليهم ولعلهم يتفكرون فيهتدون ويفلحون. In order for them to reason on it, يبين إليهم ما نزل إليهم يبين لهم ما نزل إليهم. In order to explain to them, to interpret for them that which was revealed to them, so as for them to reason, to use their brain, to use their spine power, to use their medulla oblongata, to reason in the information contained in the script, in the book, so as for them to be guided. Meaning, if they reflect to to the information, they would be guided. ويفلحون لعلهم يهتدون ويتفكرون ويهتدون ويفلحون. For them to reason, for them to retain the information, to understand it, to be guided, and likewise to attain salvation. So you cannot attain salvation without following these processes. You must listen. You must listen to an information. You have to listen to the divine information. Think about it. Use your brain. You will be able to know whether it is from any other source or it is from the divine message. So that's how it is. So when the book was revealed to the messengers, their mission is to deliver it to the people. So what is upon the humans is for them to listen. You cannot judge something without listening from it. So you need to listen. And after listening, nobody is going to force you. لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي. There is no compulsion in the vision, because guidance is totally apparent than misguidance. You will be able to know. You have your brain. Just listen. You cannot judge something without listening. Even for a book, you cannot judge the information contained in the book without going through it, without reading. So you need to listen first. Reason about it. You will be able to know this is truth or this is false, or that is false. So with this you will be able to be guided. Without listening, you will never become a rightful guided person. So then, after you become a guided person, there is something further, that is salvation. And the salvation would be in the hereafter. Because we know, according to our theology, there are two success. Success here in the dunya and success in the hereafter. So, and the success in the hereafter, we consider it as salvation. Whether we call it al-najah or we call it al-falah. So that's how it is. You will not be successful without understanding, without learning, without listening. So you have to use your brain before understanding. And the moment you understand this is right and you follow it, definitely you will be guided. And if you maintain the guidance, definitely you will attain salvation. So that's what Sheikh Muhammad bin Salih al-Uthaymeen is trying to highlight here. Or he highlighted here. He mentioned فالكتاب والسنة هما الأصلان اللذان قامت بهما حجة الله على عباده. Because the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah, they are the two foundational evidences of which the divine legislation is built upon. هما الأصلان اللذان, they are the very two foundations. قامت بهما حجة الله على عباده, of which the divine legislation, the divine evidence is built upon these two roots. So these are the basic roots. The Kitab and the Sunnah, these are the basic roots. With these two, you will be able to know the divine information. You can never get the divine information without following the revelation. So Al-Kitab wa Sunnah, they are the revelations. So he mentioned that قامت به بحجة الله على عباده واللذان تنبني عليهما الأحكام الاعتقادية عملية وإيجابا ونفيا. He mentioned واللذان تنبني عليهما الأحكام, and these are the basic foundations that the legislations are built upon. الأحكام الاعتقادية, the rules of theology والعملية, and the rules of devotional acts, إيجابا ونفيا, in acceptance or in rejection. So with the rules, with the foundations, you would be able to accept something or to reject something. With only the Kitab and the Sunnah, you would be able to know that which is obligation, that which is right and that which is wrong. So ijaban wa nabiyan. Based on these two categories, you will be able to accept or reject. So the أحكام الاعتقادية وأحكام العملية. أحكام العملية يعني أحكام العبادات. العملية هنا العبادات. والاعتقادية تشتمل ما يعتقده الإنسان في قلبه. So the aspect of theology and the aspect of devotional acts have their roots from Al-Kitab wa Sunnah. And this is how the issue is. والمستدل بالقرآن يحتاج إلى نظر واحد. Whosoever that will establish an evidence with the Quran يحتاج إلى نظر واحد. He requires only one research. You just need one observation. وهو النظر في ضلالة النص على الحكم ولا يحتاج إلى النظر في مسند. And that observation, that research that he has to do or he must do في دلالات النص على الحكم. It is in the information directives upon jurisdictional legislation. So one thing is that if you want to establish an evidence from the ayat, you require only one thing. That is for you to know, you must research, you must observe what is the point of directives, what is the information contained in that ayah, and what is its implication in the rules. What is the implication of that in jurisdictional rulings? So you need to know that. You must research. You cannot just take an ayah that is talking about, like for example, al-ibadat, to consider it as the ayah that is talking about al-i'tiqadat. So that's one of the issues. ولا يحتاج إلى النظر في مسنده لأنه ثابت ثبوتا قطعيا. And he is not required to look much more further regarding its sources. So there is no need for you to ask for isnad in terms of ayat. There is no need for you to ask for isnad. To check for isnad. For example, if it is an ayah, لأنه ثابت ثبوتا قطعيا, because as for the Quran, it is a confirmatory book with a kind of absolute confirmation. So no need of you to ask for isnad. But in case of the hadith, you require an isnad in order to verify whether it is an authentic one or a weak one. So he further mentioned بالنقل المتواتر لفظا ومعنى, because as for the Quran, it came in a kind of متواتر لفظا ومعنى, it came in form of mutawatir, لفظا ومعنى, literally and meaningly. So meaningly and literally, the Quran came in mutawatir, in numerous narration. So when we mention mutawatir, it's any kind of information that comes from so many narrations. We'll get to discuss about this afterwards. So for the Quran, it came in numerous narration, meaning before even its compilation and standardization, because it is directly dictated during its revelation. It is directly dictated, so there is no issue in it. It can mutawatir, something that is absolutely authentic. So if it is an ayah, you don't need to ask for isnad. You only have you to seek for isnad. But if it is a hadith, you need for isnad in order to verify whether it is authentic or not. Allah understand. So that's what he is trying to mention here. Then he further mentioned, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. He established a kind of evidence with an ayah, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. The Almighty mentioned, we are the one, إِنَّا نَحْنُ. We were the ones, نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ. We the Quran. It said az-zikr, that is the remembrance part. So here the point of discussion is, inna, we are, nahnu, us. So two pronoun come, which signifies, the first pronoun signifies statement of power, and the second pronoun signifies to confirmation. Inna nahnu. We are the one, or we are the ones. So Allah understand. But based on the issues of Tawheed and based on the issue that is our cows, you have to say we are the one, because Allah is the one that is making the statement. So it is a kind of divine statement which signifies to power. The Almighty can use a single pronoun, first person pronoun, or second person pronoun, any pronoun. He has that power, he has the choice. So what we know in the point of grammatical aspect, if a single person use the pronoun of we or us, he is showing the power. He is showing the power. Inna nahnu nazzalna dhikra. We are the one that will be the remembrance book. الذكرى يعني القرآن، يعني الكتاب، يعني الفرقان. So indeed we are the one that reveal it. So one thing that we can understand, the revelation of the book is from the Almighty. But when we get the book, we get it from the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Where did he get it? From Jibreel alayhi salam. So what the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Jibreel are all the way on mission to deliver the divine message. So if you include them in a kind of statement, you would say they are the ones. They are the ones. مَا يُطِعِ الرَّسُولَ فَقَدْ أَطَاعَ اللَّهَ. I think you get the information. So a person that use a pronoun we or us, he is trying to show the power of that statement. So suppose I said we should do it, we shall do it, we must do it. So meaning It is a kind of emphasis in the statement. So that's how the issue is. So he further mentioned after the ayah, وَالْمُسْتَدِلُّ بِالسُنَّةِ يَحْتَاجُ إِلَى نَظْرِهِ. But as for a person that will utilize the sunnah, he will utilize the hadith as an evidence, he requires two results. You need two observations. Before you mention a hadith as an evidence to your statement, or as an evidence to any kind of information that you are trying to refer or you are trying to affirm to, you need two observations. You need two results. And one of the results, one of the observations, أولهما النظر في ثبوتها عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. You have to look whether it is confirmed that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم is the one that issued that statement. So meaning النظر في ثبوتها, an observation in its confirmation. عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is ليس كل ما نسب إليه صحيح, because it is not all that was attributed to him that is authentic. Everyone can say that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this, or that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that. So you need to confirm. You need to confirm. If a person says that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this, or he said that, there is need for confirmation. The person that even mentioned that hadith should make sure that it is confirmed that that hadith was from the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because it is not everything that was attributed to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam that was authentic. Like one of the ahadith al-Qussas, which is popularly in the mouth of some of the individuals, by saying or attributing that the Rasulullah said, Al-Azmu firashuhu min-nar. The bachelor, his sleeping position is prepared from the lacquered fire. You see, this is a kind of fabrication. But some of the people, they try attributing that to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you should know it is not only that was attributed to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam that is considered as authentic. ثانيهما, the second of it, النظر في دلالات النفس على الحكم. النظر في دلالات النفس على الحكم. Observing the point of description, the point of directives towards the ruling in that hadith. What does it teaches? What is the point of understanding from that hadith? If the information in that text or the information in the hadith emphasizes towards something that is being rejected by an ayah, or it contradicts one of the authentic statements that was confirmed from the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then that will not be considered as an authentic, and you cannot attribute that to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ومن أجل النظر الأول, due to the first observation, احتيج إلى وضع قوانين وقواعد يميز بها المقبول من المردود. That's the reason why it is needed in establishing قوانين, some of the laws, وقواعد, and some of the theories, تميز بها المقبول من المردود, in order to differentiate between an accepted one and a rejected one. We have to know this. It's not all that come to your basket that you should take it to your home. If you go to the market, or you went to the market, and whatsoever you see, you put into the basket, or you enter into a shopping mall or shopping complex, whatsoever you see, you put it into the basket. It might be there is an expired product within those items that you inserted into the basket. So you must to follow a particular procedure in order to differentiate that which will be accepted, that which you need, and that which you don't need. Or meaning that which you will accept, or that you will not accept. So, in order to accept a hadith or to reject a hadith, you must follow some of the theories and some of the laws, and that's how the field is. The field of hadith is entitled with some of the laws and theories, because it is a science also. So as we know the field of science, we have theories, we have laws, that is law or laws, that guides towards some of the subjects or some of the information, like in physics, chemistry, biology, in all the aspects of science. There are some of the theories. Yes, we know there are hypotheses, for example. So, theories and laws guide someone towards success. So in order to accept this, to consider this as right or to consider this as wrong, you must have a law. You must have a kind of theory that tells you that this is right or this is wrong. Like for example, we have a kind of principle, Archimedes principle, which is talking about the force, for example. So, by that kind of principle, you would be able to know something that is considered as a kind of force that is within the displacement of fluid, for example, or water. Suppose, for example, you take an object and you immerse it into a water. The amount of water that goes out of that container is equivalent to the mass or weight of that immersing object, or the object that you immerse into that container. Suppose you take a beaker and you insert a kind of ball, for example, or a meter into that beaker. If that beaker is filled with water, the moment the ball gets into the container, there will be water displacement. Some amount of water, quantity of water or volume of water would go out of the container. So suppose if you would gather the displaced water in another container, you will see that the weight of that ball or the mass of that ball is equivalent to the mass of that water that gets displaced. So with this you will be able to know that the mass of the water shall be equivalent, there should be a kind of equilibrium, So by this you will be able to know that that experiment is right or wrong. So there is need for principles and there is need for law and theories in order to be guided. And the very origin of laws and theories are from divine revelations. So beside that, in any other field, in the sciences, there shall be theories. There shall be laws and principles in order to be able to identify that this is right or this is wrong. So this is what he is trying to explain to us at that moment of time, as how he mentioned. So he says that فيما ينسب إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, in that which is attributed to the Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم. So if anything is attributed to the Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم, but the Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم said this, or he mentioned that, there is need of confirmation. You shall know that this is originally from the Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم. How can you know? By following through some theories and laws which are related to the riwayah or related to the dirayah. وقد قام العلماء رحمهم الله بذلك وسموه. And it is that issue that the ulama, the scholars, stand for it. They stood for that and they named that as Untitled Hadith. For the scholars, they named that as Untitled Hadith, the Hadith terminology. So this is the name given to the subject. This is the name given to the signs by the ulama with regards to the issue of Hadith confirmation. So in terms of the signs of Hadith, fiqhul Hadith, you shall follow through some of the principles, some of the guiding laws and theories, in order to be able to differentiate between an authentic narration or a false narration, a positive narration or negative narration. So through this subject, which is our point of discussion, you will be able to know how to accept a narration or how to reject a narration. وَقَدْ وَضَعْنَا فِيهِ كِتَابًا. And indeed, we have established a book to it. So Shaykh Uthaymeen is saying, and indeed, that's the reason why we find a book for this. كتابا وسطا يشتمل على المهم من هذا الفن حسب المنهج المقرر أو حسب منهج المقرر. So what he says is that وقد وضعنا به كتابا وسطا يشتمل على المهم من هذا الفن حسب المنهج المقرر. We have established a book for this purpose, which comprises the basic information in this subject. حسب المنهج المقرر, based on the assigned curriculum للسنتين الأولى والثانية من القسم الثانوي, in the first year and the second year of secondary session, في المعاهد العلمية, in the learning institutes, in the learning institutions. So Shaykh Uthaymeen decided to establish this book to satisfy the empathy of the student of secondary session, the first year student and the second one. So he followed the curriculum. So the book is written based on the curriculum of secondary student, the first year and the second year. So it is a kind of book that is popularly known by the student of knowledge. It is a kind of summary of what the ulama or the past predecessors has already done in several publications. So for you to get the information in a kind of summarized basis, one of the book is this of Untitled Hadith by Muhammad bin Salih al-Uthaymeen. So he further mentioned, وسميناه, and we named it مصطلح الحديث, hadith terminology. So this is the issue, meaning the work is not by him alone. It is a work that he get that is the assistance of his colleagues. Like for example, if you want to publish something or you want to research on something, there is need of collaboration, for example, sometimes. So the work is very important one. So it is not by his own personal interest, it's with due interest of other people. وَقَدْ جَعَلْنَاهُ قِسْمَيْنِ, and we made it into two volumes. جعلناه قسمين, we made it in two sections. القسم الأول يتضمن مقرر السنة الأولى. The first section comprises the curriculum of the first year. والقسم الثاني, and the second section يتضمن مقرر السنة الثانية. It comprises the scheme of work of the second year. That is the second year of the secondary school curriculum. So the book was purposely published or was written for the secondary school student. Those are in the first year and the second year. So, and that's how the scheme of the book was. There is first section of the book and the second section of the book. The first satisfy the curriculum or the scheme of work of the secondary school student of first year, and the second section satisfy the scheme of work of secondary school student of second year. So he says that وَقَدْ جَعَلْنَاهُ قِسْمَيْنِ, القسم الأول يتضمن مقرر السنة الأولى والقسم الثاني يتضمن مقرر السنة الثانية. والله أسأل أن يجعل عملنا خالصا لوجهه. So Almighty is the one that we ask to make this our action, to make this our work خالصا لوجهه, specifically for his mightiest peace, موافقا لمرضاته, in order to satisfy his pleasure, موافقا لمرضاته, for it to satisfy his pleasure, نافعا لعباده, for it to be beneficial to his servants. إنه جواد كريم, he is the greatest grantor and he is the most honorable. So this is the statement that Usaymin concluded after giving a free pass of the book. So after the Muqaddim, we are going directly to the point of discussion, of which the first topic, which is from the first section, القسم الأول من كتاب مصطلح الحديث, مصطلح الحديث تعريفه وفائدته. So the first of our discussion would be based on the definition of مصطلح الحديث and its significance. So we have to know this مصطلح الحديث. What is hadith terminology? And what is the benefit of it? So مصطلح الحديث علم يعرف به حال الراوي والمروي من حيث القبول والرد. من حيث القبول والرد. علم يعرف به حال الراوي والمروي بحيث القبول والرد. So the definition of it is that it is defined as a kind of knowledge that is utilized in order to know the condition of a narrator and the narration, purposely for acceptance or rejection, meaning for the acceptance of the narrator or acceptance of the narration, or rejecting the narrator or rejecting the narration. Meaning the narration or rejecting the narration. So this is the basic definition of مصطلح الحديث. هو علم يعرف به حال الراوي والمروي. It is a knowledge that help. It is a study that help in knowing the condition of the narrator and the narration. So there are two basic important factors here: a narrator and the narrations. So if a person provides you with an information, so there are two things involved. One is the personality of that particular person, and second, the condition of that information that he brought to you. You must know what the two. You must know the person, and you must know the information. So through the Mustalah al-Hadith, you will be able to know the condition of the narrator and the narration. بحيث القبول والرد. Purposely in order to accept or to reject. If you know the condition of the narrator, you can accept him or you can reject him. If he is a good person, you can accept him. If he is an evil person, you can reject him. Likewise, narration. If the narration is da'ifa or da'if, if the narration is mawdu, you need to reject that narration. You cannot say it is hadith. So this is the basic definition of mustalah al-hadith. وفائدته. What is the importance of it? What is the importance? The importance of it, its significance. So we are talking about hadith terminology. What is the definition of it? The basic information contained in this discussion is for you to know the condition of a narrator and the narration in order to accept or to reject. You cannot just take any information you come across, whether in social media or in any other issues. So likewise in the hadith, you have to know the narrator and also the narration. So if that is the case, definitely there would be a benefit in that. There would be point of significance in that kind of issue. وفائدته, its significance, معرفة ما يقبل معرفة ما يقبل ويرد من الراوي والمروي. Knowing that which can be accepted or something that can be rejected from a narrator or from the narration. So you would be able to know whether to accept this or to reject this. Or there is a kind of point or kind of attribute that you can accept or you can reject. So for you to understand something that you can reject and something that you can accept, something that you can approve and something that you can disapprove. If you will disapprove something, definitely there will be a kind of information that came to you. And if you want to approve something, you must have information before approving something. So this development, knowing what is accepted or what is rejected from the narrator and the narration. معرفة ما يقبل ويرد. Something that is to be approved or something that is to be disapproved. من الراوي والمروي, from the narrator and the narration. So al-hadith al-khabru al-athru al-hadith al-qudsi. Here there are 4 terminologies that we are going to start with, or we are going to begin with. The first terminology, the first term is al-hadith. So it is defined as ما أضيف إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من قول أو عمل أو تقرير أو وصف. ما أضيف إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. What is anything that is attributed? It is whatsoever that is attributed to the Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم of utterances, or actions, or affirmations, or attributes, main descriptions. So whatsoever that is attributed to the Rasul of utterances, that he says that, or he has done this, or he has done that, or any affirmation, this is based on his counseling, but is based on his point of view, or he sees someone doing something and he affirms to that, or any kind of description of him. And that al-wasfu can be a description of his character, or description of his figures, for example, his figure of creation. So this is the basic definition of the word or the term hadith. ما أضيف إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من قول أو عمل أو تقرير أو وصف. In some of the books, they would mention أو صفة خلقية أو خلقية. So الوصف is the same as الصفة خلقية أو خلقية. So this is how the definition is. And in terms of definition, every scholar has his own way of putting his right words. But this is the basic. Wherever you go, in any of the books of Untitled Hadith, this is the basic definition or statement about the term hadith. Al-khabr, about the term al-khabr. بمعنى الحديث فيعرف بما سبق في تعريف الحديث. It is in the meaning of hadith. فيعرف بما سبق في تعريف الحديث. It can be defined with that which was already passed from the definition of hadith. So if we say al-khabr, it can be referred to hadith. So if it is referred to the hadith, then the definition would be the same with the definition of hadith. وإلى الخبر أو إلى الخبر ما أضيف إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. It was also mentioned that al-khabr is anything that was attributed to Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم وإلى غيره, or something that was attributed to even someone beside Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم. فيكون أعم من الحديث وأشمل. Then it will be much more broad than the term hadith, and also وأشمل, more vast. So what Uthaymin is trying to mention here is that if we say al-khabr, it is a synonym to hadith. So if we refer to hadith as al-khabr, then the definition is the same, because the definition of al-khabr is anything that is attributed to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also it can be referred to anybody. Like for example, I can ask you, mal akhbar, what are the news? What is the story? Mal khabar, what is the story? So the term al-khabr is a synonym to hadith, but it has other meaning also. Al-khabr can be referred to story. Al-Khabar can be referred to narration. Al-Khabar can be referred to news. Like today we have Untitled Chapter, the news channels. So these are the terminologies that we should try as such to differentiate. Otherwise, there will be a kind of confusion in understanding the science of hadith. So these are the basic conditions, these are the basics. Before you understand the science of hadith, you must know this kind of basics. If you give the meaning of al-khabar to hadith, there is a point that it cannot be considered, it will not be accepted. For example, suppose you could give the definition al-hadith b'ma'na al-khabar. Yes, indeed, the word al-hadith, it can be a kind of synonym to khabar. Al-hadith from the word al-hadith or al-ahdath, for example. So in this regard, you will be able to understand that there will be a kind of change of the meaning. The meaning can change from hadith to al-khabar. Al-khabar can be referred to hadith, but it can also be referred to story, news, or narration. Further, he mentioned, if we take the word al-khabar, it is more broadly and more vast as compared to the word al-hadith. Then al-athar, the term al-athar, ما أضيف إلى الصحابي أو التابعي, it is anything that is attributed to a companion or a tabi', a predecessor to the companion. So we have tabaqat. We have tabaqat al-ula, tabaqat al-thaniya, tabaqat al-thalitha. We have the sahaba, we have the tabi'in, we have the atba'u al-tabi'in. So al-athar is a statement. Any information that is gathered or that is obtained from a sahabi, any other person beside the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, but basically the sahaba or the tabi'in. فَقَدْ يُرَادُ بِهِ مَا أُضِيفَ إِلَى النَّبِيِّ صلى الله عليه وسلم. It can also mean that something that is attributed to the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, مُقَيِّدًا, but in some extent. فَيَقَالُ, thereby to say, like for example to say, وَفِي الْأَثَرِ عَنِ النَّبِيِّ صلى الله عليه وسلم, and in narration from the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and in reference to the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So simply, al-athar, it is reference. So the word athar is referred to sahabi, anything that is obtained from sahabi or tabi, at-tabi'i. It can also be referred to the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, like when a person says, وَفِي الْأَثَرِ الرَّسُولِ عَنِ النَّبِيِّ صلى الله عليه وسلم. So in this case, it can be, that is all attributed to the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahu musta'an. Al-Hadith al-Qudsi. Hadith al-Qudsi, the holy hadith. So we have also another form of hadith, which is Hadith al-Qudsi. رواه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Is that which the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam narrated, ربه تعالى, from his Lord the Most High. ويسمى أيضا, it can also be named as al-Hadith al-Rabbani, a large hadith. والحديث الإلهي, it can also be termed as al-Hadith al-Ilahi, the divine hadith. So these are the basic names given to Hadith al-Qudsi, either holy hadith or Lord hadith or the divine hadith. So it's anything that the Rasulullah narrated from his Lord. Misal, an example, قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, may peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, فيما يرويه عن ربه تعالى, of what he narrated from his Lord the Most High, أنه قال, that he said, أنا عند ظن عبدي بي, I'm to the extent of my servant point of limitation. I'm to the extent of my servant limit of thought. Meaning wherever my servant thought go, I would be there. So here the Almighty is saying, but the narration came from the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's not an eye. So this kind of hadith is considered as al-hadith al-Qudsi. وَأَنَا مَعَهُ حِينَ يَذْكُرُنِي. Allah is saying, I will be with him whenever he remembers me. فَإِنْ ذَكَرَنِي فِي نَفْسِهِ, if he remembers me in his mind, ذَكَرْتُهُ فِي نَفْسِهِ, I will also remember him in my mind or in my heart. وإن ذكرني في ملأ ذكرته في ملأ خير منه. If he recall me, if he remembers me in a gathering, I would also remember him in a kind of gathering that is much more better than the gathering that he recalled me within. When I will recall him in a gathering where the people of that gathering, or the creators in that gathering, are much more honorable, are much more better than the gathering where that particular person, that particular servant remembers his Lord. ومرتبة الحديث القدسي, and the position of Hadith al-Qudsi بين القرآن والحديث النبوي, it is in between the Quran and the Hadith al-Nabawi. You cannot say Hadith al-Qudsi is an ayah. And likewise, you cannot just say it is a statement of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But Quran al-Kareem yunsabu ila Allah, yunsabu ila Allah ta'ala. As for the Quran, it is directly referred to the Almighty, the Most High, lafzan wa ma'na, meaningly and literally. والحديث النبوي, as for the hadith النبوي, the prophetic hadith, ينسب إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لفظا ومعنى. It is also referred to the Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم. It is also attributed. It is also attributed to the Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم meaningly and literally. Meaning the words come from the Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم. And also the meaning of that is from the statement of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So likewise the Quran. The Quran came from the statement, the words of the Almighty. والحديث القدسي, as for Hadith al-Qudsi, ينسب إلى الله تعالى معنى لا لفظه. It is referred to the statement of the Almighty, the Most High, in meaning but not literally. You cannot say that this comes from the statement of the Almighty, but the meaning came from the statement of the Almighty. It is not the words that are to be considered that these are the words of the Almighty, but the meaning is from the Almighty's statement. So this is the differences. وَلِذَلِكَ لَا يُتَعَبَّرُ بِتِلَاوَةِ لَفْظِهِ, and that's the reason why its pronunciation cannot be utilized in devotional acts. وَلَا يَقْرَأُ فِي الصَّلَاةِ, and it will not be recited in the salah. It will not be recited in the prayers. You cannot quote Hadith al-Qudsi in your salah, in your namaz. For you to, like when you make the takbirat al-ihram, instead of reciting Fatiha, you begin by saying, Ya ibadi inni haramtu zulma ala nafsi. This is totally ritual. Because that is not the way to use Hadith al-Qudsi. So this is one of the differences. You cannot use it in prayer. You cannot use it in devotional actions. وَلَمْ يَحْصُلُ بِهِ التَّحَدِّي, and there is no standardization that came from it. No any standardization that was found for Hadith al-Qudsi. But as for the Quran, we know there is standardization. So Allah understand. That's the reason why you see in different riwayat the words of the Hadith al-Qudsi, the same Hadith, but the words can differ. Because there is no standardization to that. Any rawi may come with his own quotation of the matter, for example, because there is no standardization on that. ولم ينقل بالتواتر, it is not narrated in a kind of numerous riwayah. Tawatir, this narration is mutawatir, meaning the narration come in different ways, come in different paths of narrations. There is numerous narration and there is a single narration. كما نقل القرآن, as how the Quran was narrated. بل منه ما هو صحيح وضعيف وموضوع. However, part of the Hadith al-Qudsi, there is the one that can be authentic one, and there is the one that can be a weak one, and there is even a fabricated one. So in the ayah, you cannot get da'ifa or mawdu'a. But in Hadith al-Qudsi, you can find an authentic one, you can find a kind of weak one. You can even get a fabricated one. You know there is difference between al-da'if and mawdu'. These are also some of the classifications, some of the terminologies. Al-da'if means a weak hadith, and hadith can be considered as weak based on the chain of transmission. And the weakness can come based on the manner of the narrator, based on the condition. And al-mawdu' is a fabricated one, which might be a lie, which might be a kind of narration that has no any association with the divine legislation, neither even a single utterances or actions or affirmations or any other attribute of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these are the differences. So with this few point of Sheikh Usaymin and with this few explanation, we'll be able to understand some of the basic of Mustalih al-Hadith. We started and we are going to move further. We have discussed about the purpose of him writing the book. He has published the book purposely for some category of students. Most especially, the book shall be utilized in learning institutions. So, and the basic subject of the discussion is the signs of Hadith. That is the Hadith terminology. So we know about the definition of Mustalih al-Hadith. We heard about the importance of it, how you can approve a narration or a narrator, or how you can disapprove him. Suppose you had this rawi like Amr ibn Uqba, you know his condition, for example. So all this kind of, all you heard about a hadith, you will know that this is da'if or this is sahih. So to Mustalih al-Hadith, you will be able to know the foundation, the basics on how to approve or how to disapprove. If you understand Mustalih al-Hadith, you will be able to know this hadith is da'if and this hadith is sahih. This hadith is hasan, or this hadith is munkar, this hadith is mawdu, or this hadith. That's how you would get the benefit of learning this Mustalahul Hadith. Likewise, we had about the definition of hadith, we had about the definition of the term al-khabar and the definition of the term al-athar, and we had about the definition of hadith al-qudsi and its synonyms, hadith al-ilahi, hadith al-rabbani. We had about its significance and the differences between hadith al-nabawi and hadith al-qudsi, and the differences between hadith al-qudsi and the Quran. So these are the basic information that we discussed in this introduction of hadith terminology. Inshallah, we are going to stop here due to the time limitation. As you can see, also super saturated. I'm feeling sleeping. I have to relax for a while. So afterwards, inshallah, we are going to proceed further in the session. If you have any question, you can ask afterwards, inshallah. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.